So today we're going to look at a style of fly that I use to great effect, both on still waters and on the rivers. It's a general purpose nymph and it can be any colour or any size you like. I'm tying this one at the moment in a size 10 for demonstration purposes, but you can tie it down to 14s, 16s, as small as you like. There are a number of materials. Today I'm going to use just ordinary brown thread. I'm going to use a cock pheasant centre tail, and again you can use that in a variety of colours. The ubiquitous cobbler's wax for waxing the thread. I've got this stuff here which is a braid, flat braid, and this is pearly and it's like peacock. I'm going to use that for the thorax cover, and I'm going to use some of this stuff which is like a nymph body wrap. It's a kind of orangey brown colour, but again you can make it any colour you like. So what we'll do is we'll start in the usual way. We'll take our brown thread here and we'll run it through the wax a couple of times just to give it a decent bit of grip. We'll then do the usual, starting at the eye. We'll catch the thread in at the eye, and then we'll do touch and turns all the way back up to the point where the tail emerges from the body, just as the bend begins on the hook shank, to about there. Take our fine point scissors and trim, and then just tidy that up. So I'm going to take about, I don't know, 5 or 6 cock pheasant fibres for the tail. As I say, that's probably about 5 or 6. Just tie it in at the fat end with a half pinching loop there, and then just draw the feathers until the tail length is about the length of the body. It doesn't have to be exact. Some people like a longer tail or a shorter tail. It's your individual preference, and then run the silk all the way back up to the point where the thorax is going to start about there. Take your fine point scissors and trim. Now, here's the awkward bit. We're going to take this nymph wrap, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fine point scissors and cut a wee wedge. It makes it just slightly easier to get caught with the thread and started. It is a wee bit awkward. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there's a wee wedge in that there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and catch that in with the thread, just at the point where the thorax starts. There, catch it in, lock it in with a couple of turns. Then start to run the thread back up and stretch the nymph wrap as tight as you dare to that point, just about there, just about 1/2 millimetre from the tail, and lock it into your spring clip there, your material clip, and then just run the thread and tidy all of that up and run the thread back down. You don't have to do that, but take your double wax, put a good amount of double wax on there. Now what you're looking for is you're looking for some hairy dubbing. Now you can use squirrel, or you can use hair, or any fibre that's got, you know, guard hairs on it, and then just kind of dub that loosely on the thread. You don't want a tight rope, you want a nice loose dub there. Don't put too much on, but you need to put enough as get you a hairy body. Then you want to do is kind of run that up. Don't be too alarmed at this stage. That effect is exactly what you're looking for. You want that kind of hairy effect there. See that? Like a bad hair day, if you'll pardon the pun. What we then do is we take our nymph wrap and we stretch it, and we'll lock it in at the back, just where the tail disappears out the body there. Now the secret now is to take it up the body and touch and turns over the top of the dubbing. And what you'll start to see is you'll start to see some of those long guard hair fibres beginning to stick out through the nymph wrap, and it gives it a nice segmented effect, but at the same time it gives it a nice nymphy hairy effect. Take your fine point scissors and trim away as close as you can get to the body there, just where the thorax starts, and take your thread up and just kind of tidy all of that up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flat pearly braid, my peacock there, and I'm just going to lash that to the top of the hook, just where the thorax cover starts. Now a wee tip with the thorax is, if you think your thorax is in the right place, take it back a couple of turns. I don't know about you, but invariably my thorax always seems to end up further forward than I thought it was going to be. So take that in and then just tidy that up, just run, just to tidy that up there. Now, what you can do now is you can take maybe a contrasting colour. In this case I've got some homemade speckly dub here. It's just a light dubbing. I'm going to take some of that and I'm going to dub that on to the thread, and I'm now going to form the thorax. Not too much, but enough. I'm going to now run that up to just behind the bit where we're going to form the head. Draw that back, take your pearly braid over, and then just lock it in with a couple of turns. 1, 2. Take your fine point scissors, trim. Thumb and forefinger, and rake everything back and form a nice neat head. Then we're going to do, I don't know, a 4 or a 5 turn whip finish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lock that in. And at this point, obviously, you would come in with your varnish or your UV resin or whatever it is you use for the head on your fly, and you would varnish the head. Now, you can put a layer of lead underneath that, you can weight it, you can even use a bead in the thorax if you're so wish, but the important point is to get this nymphy body effect here, where you've got this really heavily segmented effect and all these wee bits sticking out give it a really, really nice nymphy effect. Now that's very effective on both still waters and rivers, and as I say, you go away, give it a go, make it any colour you like, brown, olive, you name it, it's entirely up to you. So go away, give it a go, and let me know how you get on.